Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show, highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyles, community, and neighborhood. And now, from Fore Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Our house in the middle of our street. Our house.
Good morning and welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. Good morning, Dorothy.
Good morning, Bill.
We've had a couple of shows in the past, as a matter of fact, just a couple of weeks ago, on a very big topic, insurance.
Yes, I remember that one. We
had the show all about health insurance and the February 15th deadline, which is next week now.
Yes, it's fast approaching.
And we've had a couple of shows in the past about life insurance, disability, the way people should shop for their coverages each year, and we're just now into a new year.
Yes, we are.
In 6 years, we've not had a show on the topic we're going to discuss today.
We haven't? I didn't realize that.
Well, you don't even know what the topic is yet.
Yeah, but I kind of saw the brochures on the table when you came in.
Yeah, you did. We, in the real estate industry, home warranties have become a very big part of our buyers' contracts and our sellers' contracts. In an area where we deal with a lot of young buyers who are buying homes, if they're not new construction especially, home warranties are the topic of the day. I'm being joined on my right today by Nicole Head from Fore Properties, who specializes in working with military families. And Nicole, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm glad you could do this, even though it was last minute.
Glad to be here.
So we see a natural. I knew it.
Careful, she might be after your job.
She can have my job. It's okay.
Take it.
Old Republic is one of a host of home warranty companies that are out there in the market, and rather than their execs coming in today to talk specifically about Old Republic, Patty Collins and Troy Harasymchuk are here to talk about the industry in general, but to also point up some valuable tips for realtors, for the public, I guess equally. Patty, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Good. And Troy, I appreciate you coming in. And the two of you guys have been in the home warranty business not just for like 2 years, but both of you have quite a bit of experience. Your background is important because it will give us some indication as to the experience that you have.
Well, I've actually been a licensed broker in North Carolina since '92, and then I came to work for Old Republic in 2003 and been with them ever since. So I actually still am a licensed real estate agent. I just had to agree not to sell anymore when I joined Old Republic. I just do referrals. So I think it's really important that I have that background so that I know how the life of a real estate agent, how tough it is, and how we can better assist them. So
you have a unique perspective because you've been licensed in real estate and you practice real estate, and now you're an insurance broker. That gives you a much better perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Troy, where does that leave you?
Well, I started in home warranty in 1995.
Right.
So this is pretty much all I know.
Right.
And I came to Old Republic in 1999. So I have about 20 years of home warranty experience now.
So it's very rare in our world today that you meet somebody who has 20 years of experience in anything. People tend to, they start one job, they move to something else, they have one epiphany, then they have another, and they keep having epiphanies. You obviously have been pretty consistent and pretty dedicated, I imagine.
Yeah, I would like to think so.
What, I guess most people in the public will ask the question, what do you mean I need a home warranty? I have homeowners insurance. I just got my 1-year annual policy. What's a home warranty?
Well, if I can explain that, a home warranty is actually a complement to the homeowners insurance policy. Let's say, for example, you're in a home and a water heater breaks. Yes, your homeowners insurance will help you with fixing those floors and walls and all the water damage, but no one's going to pay for that new water heater.
Right.
So with a home warranty, that's really what we are. Is we're protecting, we're covering what makes this house actually function, run, like your air conditioner, your heating system, your water heater. So not only would you have that secondary damage, as it were, those water leaks taken care of through the homeowner's insurance, but now your water heater would also be replaced by a licensed contractor.
There are so many companies out there. How, and Nicole and I were talking about this before, how do you differentiate yourself from all the competition? Because we get inundated with advertising. Just this morning, I got 2 emails. I'm not making this up. I got 2 emails. The first one said, well, Nicole, I'll let you handle. I mean, look at these ads. There's a company there offering what, $50
off and 1 month free.
2 minutes later, the same company. What's their headline?
Saving $30 and a free quote.
I mean, I have a headache. I mean, that's the same company this morning within 2 minutes. I'm not sure, as a consumer, forget about as a broker, how do you muddy, how do you level the waters?
Well, after seeing the name of that company, which shall remain nameless, they are strictly an internet-based company.
Okay.
They do not have any outside reps, like Troy and myself, who are the real estate's #1 advocate. We have your back. If you have a problem, you call us, and we will expedite the situation, because we are the only company that has what's called a sales service team at our home office in California, who, when an agent calls us and they have a situation that they need for us to handle, then we will forward that information to our sales service team, and they do nothing but handle escalated service problems. So they go to the top of the list, and they get handled very expediently. So first of all, one of the differences is that you have 2 major advocates out there that are just a phone call or email away, which is very different from some of these online-only companies. And so that's #1. #2, you have to look at the history of the company. We've been around for 40 years, going on 41 years.
Right.
And we are a subsidiary of Fore Republic International, which is a Fortune 500 company. So we're a very solvent company. Home warranties companies have known to go under in the past. That would never happen with Old Republic, because we're a California-based company, and our reserves, we have to reserve when we get a check in. We only are allotted a 1/12 of that per month. All the rest is held in reserves. So you really have to look at the history of the company. I could go on for hours talking about the differences, but it's just a matter of agents and homeowners have to try and study before they buy. And I welcome people to take one of our brochures and compare it to the others. One last main differentiation is that we are not a cookie-cutter company. For instance, when a service claim comes in, we don't automatically look for ways to deny it. We actually look for ways to help out. And every case is individually looked at. So that is a major, big difference, in my opinion. We want to make the agent look good.
Okay.
Because if they look good in the eyes of that customer, then they're going to keep coming back and they're going to get referrals.
So is the person that you speak to, is it Nicole as the broker, or is it Nicole's client who might be the buyer?
Actually, our clients are the real estate agents.
Okay.
We educate them that our company offers the warranty that they should be recommending to their clients.
Okay.
Then her client, of course, is the homeowner, the consumer.
Right.
And so we educate the agent so that they, in turn, can educate their customer.
Right, because really when Nicole's writing a contract for her buyer, and in the offer to purchase contract, as you know, the home warranty takes up paragraph number 10. And it's pre-written in. So people think it's a rite of passage. They automatically are entitled to it, which is not always the case. but they'll say, okay, Nicole, you take care of it. Her referral, she's referring you, but she's also referring herself, so she needs the support and the backup in case anything goes wrong.
That's exactly right. That's vital for the success of a real estate agent.
Right. So, as a real estate broker, I think home warranties are a great idea. I don't always think that they're a great idea in an offer to purchase contract to ask a seller to pay for it. And I'll tell you why, and you're smiling. It's just because it's written in. In today's market, you have, and I'll put your real estate hat on for a second.
Okay.
If you have a client that's going in and lowballing and trying to steal a property, don't ask for nickels and dimes. Keep the offer as vanilla as possible. But if the conversation gets around to the value of a home warranty, if you think it's valuable, by all means, pick one up for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather see you spend that $400 or $500 out of your own pocket if it means that you could negotiate the price of the property for more than that. Do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. But in the world of real estate, everything is negotiable.
Right.
So when you get to that stage, it really, if you don't encourage your sellers to go ahead and put a home warranty on the day they list it,
Mm-hmm.
they are literally missing out on a free gift. And by that I mean during the listing period, the sellers are covered for all of their appliances. Most of the major functions. The only two things during the listing period that we don't cover is the refrigerator and the heating and air. They can acquire the heating and air. It is an option, a $75 option, but nothing is paid for until closing. So just to give you a scenario, let's say that during the listing period we replace their stove and their hot water heater to the tune of $2,000.
Okay.
Okay. Then once that, let's just say that after 6-month listing is up, they say, okay, we've had it. We're just going to stay here.
You're fired.
Yeah, go away. You know how much they owe us? $0. Absolutely nothing. All it has cost those people is the $60 trade call fee that they paid directly to the technician that came out, and they've got a new hot water heater and a new stove. I mean, it's just basically a no-brainer because nothing is paid for until closing.
Okay. And at the time it's paid for, it transfers to
It automatically transfers to the buyer, and they are covered on all the things that are listed under the buyer's coverage, which includes the refrigerator and the heating and air conditioning and ductwork. And that program lasts from the day of closing for the following year.
Why don't more brokers enroll their sellers in that program? Why do they wait until the contract is that a fair statement?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Nicole,
unfortunately, it's lack of education.
So, Nicole, I mean, if you're sitting down with your seller, you have a listing appointment, why wouldn't you, there's no reason not to have them sign up for the protection because they don't have to pay for it until the house sells. And if it's an older house especially, the chances are the buyer is going to ask the seller to provide it anyway.
Well, I think a lot of the sellers are not aware that they won't be paying it until the closing.
Right.
They think that it's going to be another initial expense that they have to put out. So really education is just key in making the sellers aware that this is not going to be an initial expense for them.
Right. And that's, sellers today are asked to do a lot.
Yes.
We tell them to put on designer sneakers, make sure that their laces are tied really tight, and forget about luck, forget about prayer. You've got to quantify, defend, and justify.
That's right.
How long were you in the real estate business for?
13 years.
What made you switch from real estate to insurance? I'm just curious.
I was selling in Little River, South Carolina, and I had just finished 2 weeks with 2 investors. And they had used and abused me terribly, ended up buying a FSBO, which is for sale by owner. And I was totally crushed. And I thought to myself, I am sick and tired of giving my time away.
Yeah.
And my time is valuable. And so the next day, my Old Republic rep came into my office, and we were sitting there talking. And I was telling her about my situation, and she said, well, we're looking for a new account exec in the Raleigh area. Would you be interested? And I said, I just might. And so one thing led to the other.
So you were a jilted lover, and you decided to go to the other side.
But it's an education that I'll always keep. I keep my continuing education, do my continuing education every year. I will never let it go. But it's a valuable education.
Yeah. Troy, you're listening. You've seen it all. You have a perspective like the football coach. You can see the whole playing field. You've seen things mishandled, sometimes by the agents or but the communication. So education is the key thing that you need to keep putting forth for people, correct?
Absolutely. Education is absolutely the key.
Yeah. When you talk about the seller coverage, do you find that turns things around when the policies are issued at the time of the listing instead of at the time of the contract? Patty?
Yes, because we provide sign writers to go on the actual real estate sign that says this home comes with a 1-year-old public home warranty, and it gives buyers a sense of protection that they normally would not have.
And sellers.
And sellers. And so it's, like I say, it's just unfathomable that anybody would not be more comfortable buying a home that they know is coming with a home warranty with that protection than one that is not.
And I think, too, it's really important to educate the clients that systems that we're replacing nowadays are a lot more expensive than they were even just 10, 15, 20 years ago. For example, a water heater at one time would cost $300 to replace. But now we have to pull permits, we have extra codes we have to factor in, and a water heater replacement now is $1,500. An air conditioner that used to cost $1,200 can cost all the way up to $20,000 for a home. So the thing is, these systems are much more energy efficient, but at the same time a lot more expensive. So a lot of times if you're looking at a home, let's say it's the exact same floor plan, exact same price, but home A has a 1-year guarantee on it with all their systems and home B doesn't, that home A becomes that much more attractive. That's one of the reasons why sellers would like to put them on their homes, is because it does help to sell the home for faster and for a higher price.
But that also explains why there are certain add-ons that you can't cover everything for the annual premium that you advertise.
Well, I have a saying that there's no such thing as a home warranty that covers everything, because if there were, nobody could afford it. Home warranties are designed to lower your out-of-pocket expenses when you have a major repair or replacement. That's it.
We want to come back in the second set. Nicole and I have a bunch of questions to ask you guys. We're going to take our pens and our notepads and take some copious notes. This is All Things Moore County. We'll be right back.
Our house in the middle of our street. Our house in the middle of... In the middle of our street, our house. In the middle of our house, it has a crowd. There's always something happening, and it's usually quite loud. Our mum, she's so house proud.
Welcome back to our conversation about home warranties. Troy, Patty, you covered a lot of information in the first set. We've covered the difference between a home warranty and home insurance. Roughly, what kind of costs are buyers and sellers looking at? Is it the cost the same if it's seller coverage and then it transfers to the buyer? Or does that cost change at the time of a contract when it transfers to the buyer? Or the time of closing, I'm sorry.
Well, if I can answer that, that'd be great. The price does not change. So the seller's coverage, basically, if it's 30 days, 90 days, 120 days, the price stays the same, which is basically the cost of the policy for the buyer.
What about the items that are covered on a seller's policy when it transfers to the buyer? There are options that the buyer has to add on to that policy. Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's correct. We do have options that are available at the time of closing that the buyer can purchase moving forward for the 1-year policy that they do have with a home warranty company.
Okay. Sounds good. Nicole?
In our area, we have a lot of septic systems. Could you talk a little bit about what type of coverage is offered for septic systems?
Yeah, every company is a little different, but I can speak specifically with what we offer at Old Republic Home Protection. So what we do offer is an option. It's $75 for the year, but what we call is a limited option because we have a certain amount of money that we will pay towards the septic system. So what it includes would be the septic tank pumping.
Mm-hmm.
It would also cover the septic system itself, the tank, the sewage ejector pump. So these are basically the systems that help the septic system function. The dollar limit is $500. So let's say, for example, a complete system fails.
Yeah,
they get a check for $500. It's not a lot, but still
right.
something to help towards that replacement.
It's $500 for a $75 annual premium.
Exactly, yeah.
Because typically a tank replacement could run around $1,800, and a little bit higher too. In Moore County, we have some, as Nicole was saying, we have so many older homes where you have a double tank system. You don't have a single tank, and you're replacing an old double tank with a single 1,000-gallon tank. And sometimes they can't go in the same place where the original tank was. It gets very convoluted. But typically in the industry, it's something rather than nothing.
Exactly, and you're going to find that when we have these types of what they call aggregate or limits on the actual type of option, it's going to be the same across the board. And a lot of times it's because the Department of Insurance is regulating the amount that we're able to cover or put a dollar amount on when we're talking about that one specific option.
Okay, so in a seller policy, in a basic seller policy that transfers to the buyer, basic policy, what is covered?
So basically, all warranty companies cover virtually the same thing.
Okay.
And that's going to be nothing that is option related. So that septic system
right, not
can only be available for the buyer, yes.
Okay.
But the things that would be covered under that standard seller's policy would be like your water heater, your oven, range, cooktop, dishwasher, if they have like a plumbing leak, an electrical issue. So those type of items that we're going to find. So we have a list typically that we have laid out that the homeowner could look at when they're taking the listing, let's say, for example, and it's usually listed on the back of a brochure of whatever the warranty company is being offered.
Are the majority of the policies that you get, are they seller initiated or are they buyer initiated?
I would have to say about 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah, just depends on the agent, the education level of the agent, and if they realize that they can take advantage of the seller's policy.
Okay. If the buyer receives the policy at closing, is that policy in force immediately for the buyer?
From day of closing.
From day of closing.
It sure is.
So day 3, the hot water heater gives out. Their step is they make a phone call
to the service line, and then they will
make a claim.
Call in, give their address, and describe the problem. And speaking for what we require is that everything must be working on the day the plan goes into effect. So if that hot water heater was working on day 1 and day 2, they're good to go.
How do you?
That is not the case with all companies.
How do you figure that out?
Okay, well, that's a good question. We really can't do anything except take the word of the homeowner as the truth.
Right.
And that's the way we operate. Now, if the technician goes out and he can determine by looking at the hot water heater that it's all rusted out and there's no way it was working, then of course we're going to have to take his viewpoint. But for the most part, we basically just take the word of the owner.
Nicole?
Is there a waiting period between when for the homeowner to make their first claim or their first service request? No waiting period?
Not with us.
Okay. Good question. I had a thought, and then you said something, and I just forgot my thought, but I'm going to remember it. Because we deal with, a home gets sold, and we stay with a buyer for a long time, years afterwards. we had a real estate attorney friend of ours who bought a home about 8 years ago, and she wrote a bit of a testimonial I'd like to share with you, because a lot of people think that one of the criticisms about home warranties is that if you never use it, it's money wasted. I don't agree with that, but let me tell you what she did. This is her email. We bought our home in 2007 and got a home warranty. At the end of the 1-year period, they offered us the option to renew, so we did. We are now on our 8th year with this policy and will continue to renew as long as they will allow us to. Yes, the red tape can sometimes be cumbersome. We want to talk about that. But they have covered everything they said they would and have not denied any of our claims or even argued over them. It's a relief to know that when a major system fails in our home, the entire financial obligation does not fall on us. I would recommend for anyone looking for a home warranty to go and get it. And isn't that great? Mm-hmm. Over the course of time, you have different deductibles with the plans, so that the homeowner will have to come out of pocket $60, $90, $100.
Well, they vary. Ours is 60. Some are 75, and some are even 100. Okay. But that just depends. And basically, what that is a trip charge. We call it a trade call fee, but that's paid directly to the technician that comes out.
Mm-hmm. Each home warranty company has a list of contract vendors lined up under their tent that if a claim call is made, you have a preferred list of vendors in the area. One of the complaints about home warranty policies is that the home buyer or the homeowner doesn't have the freedom to pick the contract vendor of their choice.
Agreed.
How would you speak to that?
Well, that's kind of a two-edged sword. Right. People that are new to the area, they don't know local vendors.
Right.
The ones that we are partnered with are licensed and insured. Everybody that's doing business out there is not. So you're protected that way as well. Okay. Plus, it takes a lot more time, talking about red tape, for the buyer to try to locate someone. And it's like we have people that, like I say, are lined up and waiting to go. Now, if in some certain situations, let's say it's in the middle of summer and it's 100 degrees outside, mm-hmm. and all of our AC technicians are tied up, then we do something called AOC, which is outside allocation. Okay. And which, if we can't get someone out there in a timely manner, and the temperature is excessive, sure. then we will allow them at that point to select their own person. Okay. And then that technician, when they get out there, they just have to call us and tell us what's going on, and then they will get approval to fix it. So, that's basically the way it works with us. Mm-hmm.
If they're selecting their own person, would they have to call them and set up the appointment, or would they give you the information and you would call?
No, they are on their own at that point to call and set it up themselves.
Okay.
Because we'd just be a middle person trying to figure out a time for them to go out and that type of thing. So we just remove ourselves at that point.
Okay. So Troy and I were having a conversation before the show, Patty, and we only have 2 minutes in this segment. I can't believe it went so fast. So a client of mine bought a home back in October, I think. They got a home warranty policy. And about a week or two into living in the house, they called me and they said, my washing machine doesn't work. Well, I can't hang pictures. I mean, I have 2 left hands. But kidding around, I said, well, make a claim with the home warranty company. And she did. And it took, I think, 10 to 12 weeks to get the entire situation resolved. The end of the story is she has a completely rebuilt washing machine, which is good news. But to get there, she was very frustrated with the process. I don't think so much with the insurance, the home warranty company, as much as with the service vendors. How could that have been avoided, Troy?
So the key really is, if you're a homeowner and you find yourself in that situation, pick up the phone and call your agent. Because the agent can turn around and call myself or Patty, and then we immediately will fast track it, because that's not what we want for our clients. We want it to be a one and done situation where they pick up the phone, they call us, we have the technician go out and diagnose the problem, and the problem is fixed. We move on to the next issue. So that's really the key, is if you are, let's say, for example, a real estate broker, educate your clients to let them know if something goes bump in the night and you're not satisfied, I'm the integral part of this. That way I can communicate it to my account executive so we can get quick resolve. If we don't know, we can't help. And that's very frustrating when we hear situations such as that.
Well, and I was frustrated too, because I was the broker, but they are such sweet people that they probably didn't want to bother me. And I'd love to be bothered. Nicole loves to be bothered, but people are very considerate sometimes. We have those kind of clients, by the way, sometimes.
Oh, I'm sure.
Hey, we're going to come back in the third set on home warranties. This is All Things Moore County. We'll be right back.
In the middle of our street, our house. In the middle of our house. In the middle of our house. In the middle of our street, our house. In the middle of our house, it has a crowd. There's always something happening, and it's usually quite loud. Our mum, she's so house proud. Nothing ever slows her down, and a mess is not allowed. Our house.
We're back for our final set. Great conversation about home warranties, trying to dispel a lot of myths and educate people so that they can make more informed decisions, both people in the public and brokers at large. Nicole, there were, as you're listening, you had a couple of questions that you wanted to ask Troy and Patty, so I'm going to give you the floor.
Okay, I did. Is warranty necessary for a new construction home, and does Old Republic offer a new construction warranty?
So first of all, to answer your first part of that question, a warranty is not necessary to be purchased for new construction, because the builder typically will provide a warranty. But we have to remember that most of the systems and appliances that come with a new home only have a 1-year warranty on it. So we do offer actually new construction warranty, but it's for years 2, 3, 4, and 5. They pay for it at closing, but after that 1 year, for example, on your dishwasher expires, let's say it's with GE, they're going to ask to have you renew and pay a lot of money to just cover that dishwasher. For a much smaller price, you can actually have Old Republic cover not only your washer, but also your refrigerator, your heating, your air conditioning. And we have to remember, too, that systems just aren't built the way they used to be. So a water heater a lot of times will only last 3 years. So that's why a lot of folks are deciding that even though it's new construction, for my peace of mind, for this small amount that I pay, I have 5 years of not having to worry about paying for a major repair in my home.
Okay.
Can I add to that? It does help builders differentiate their homes from other people's homes that are out there on the market, new construction. If they can advertise, my home is coming with a 5-year home warranty, because theirs is going to last the first year, and then ours picks up and goes for 4 years, and it's only $580 for the whole 4 years. So it really is a great selling tool for builders.
Do you place a lot of those policies with new construction with builders?
Actually, I haven't yet, only because I haven't had much time to get around to builders.
In a way, builders are up against it. They work on very tight margins, and it's just like one more thing. How much are they going to give? And the perception is that builders, they're just raking in the money when they sell a home, and it is not the case. I mean, I have to speak up for the builders.
Oh, absolutely. They can build it into the price of their home.
The public they're getting a lot these days in new construction. What if a person was not selling their home, and they just wanted to put a home warranty on their home, they just want to sleep well at night and How do you handle those?
Yeah, actually, we can provide a warranty for clients such as that. Obviously, if someone's calling us out of the blue saying, hey...
Why are you calling?
Exactly.
Right.
So we have a few differentiating qualifying factors that they're going to have to jump through.
Okay.
So the biggest thing is that for the first 30 days after purchasing that plan,
right,
they're in probation. They cannot use the policy because...
That goes back to what Nicole was asking in the first set about the waiting period.
That's why I was asking.
So that's the only time that we actually put a probation on the policy, is if someone calls us out of the blue. And the reason why is in times past we weren't as careful. Someone would call us and then a week out we're replacing their air conditioner for the tune of $2,500. It's just not a very good business proposition for ourselves. So instead of raising the price on everybody, we thought, well, if we do that at least, because we're just taking the homeowner's word for it, we're protecting ourselves from possible fraud from somebody who may not really be having the best intentions when they're ordering the policy.
And is the cost different to, it's the same cost?
It's the same cost.
So you do have more exposure that way.
Exactly.
God, what happens if you get a call on the 31st day? You go, stupid us, we shouldn't have done it, right? They just wait 30 days.
Yeah.
But, you know, on the other hand, I renovated and moved into a home about 5 months ago, new HVAC system, and the company that installed it called me up and they said, you know, now that you're in your home, you've got these 2 heat pumps, we'd like to put you on a warranty. And it was expensive. It was, if I'm not mistaken, it was like $1,400. I didn't do it, and you're shaking your head, no, Troy, why?
Well, if you start individualizing every single system, you're going to be paying an absolute fortune.
Right.
And that's the thing, is safety in numbers, I guess you could say. Our company basically writes 400,000 policies a year. We do about 1 million service claims a year.
Okay.
So when you factor in these large numbers, it makes it more affordable for each and every homeowner.
What about homeowners who have multiple heating and cooling units? How many heating and cooling units does the Old Republic plan cover?
We actually have no maximum on the number of heating and air conditioning units. They just have to be no more than 5 tons each, because then that would get into commercial grade. But we are one of the few that there is no maximum number.
So can I play devil's advocate for a second? So we, in our business, we see you, we see a couple of other companies, and they come in, they have service agents like you do. Aren't they all pretty much basically the same? I have to ask that question just to give you a chance to argue. I mean, is there really a huge qualitative difference between if you took the top 4 or 5 companies? Again, it goes back to what differentiates one from the other, or is the consumer pretty well protected? And I only ask this question because it's a question we get asked. And how would you respond to that?
Well, it's like buying health insurance.
Okay.
There are health insurance companies out there that are excellent at what they do, and they stand behind what they say they're going to pay for. There are other health insurance companies that don't fulfill that obligation.
You're talking about claims.
Claims.
And hunt service. Okay.
And since, like I say, I was on the other side of this transaction for 13 years and I sat down and I did the Ben Franklin theory, and I determined that this company, Old Republic, offered more, covered less. I mean, offered more, and like I say, covered less. And
okay, I can tell you that we have all different types of clients, and they ask us questions sometimes about insurance, just their regular insurance policies, and they'll come to the closing table and they will opt to go with company X because it was only $680, as opposed to company B, which might have been $780, $100 more, but their history of claims is superb. I'll use an example of a company with a superb service, Erie Insurance. I've had them for years and years and years, and they're a little more expensive than some of the big name firms, but the buyers, they want to just maximize or minimize their cost, but they're shortchanging themselves, because at the end of the, gosh, if you ever need the insurance company, if they don't come through with claims, they're screwed.
That's right. We don't claim to be the cheapest.
Right.
We're
That's
not.
not a bad
and
thing.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And you can either buy the quality of service and the company that stands behind it, or you can go with one that is not very well known. And
there was a great ad campaign when I lived in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia many years ago. It had to do with a men's clothing manufacturer, and the ad read, "Are you secure enough to spend less?" Well, in the insurance business, it should read, "Are you secure enough to spend more and not feel like you're getting taken?" Because the claim service is really what it's all about.
That's right.
Troy?
Yeah, David Henry Thoreau had this statement. I always love it. It says, "It's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see." So sometimes it's really important to see the bigger picture of a company.
Right.
A lot of times we'll only focus on the price, but we don't realize what's all included. A lot of times that cheaper price also means that there's less coverage in the plan, less items that the actual company will offer.
Yeah.
And I think it all comes down to, especially if we're talking to the brokers, the relationship that you form between you and the account executive for that company.
Right.
The better the relationship, the more that account executive can help you.
Right.
Because you have that freeness of picking up the phone and saying, "Hey, I need a little help on this," and knowing and having that feeling, rest assured that account executive will be able to pick up that phone to their company and saying, "Hey, this is something we have to do."
Yeah.
And within that price, is there a maximum number of square feet in the homes that the protection will cover?
Yes. Our basic plans are for homes that are under 5,000 heated square feet.
Okay.
Anything over that, we would have to call for a quote.
Okay. Between the two of you, is it safe to say you've got 30 years of experience in the industry?
That's correct.
Yes.
So you have a brother or a sister who is buying a home. So knowing what you know, and assuming you have a good relationship with that sibling, what kind of coverage above the basic coverage would you recommend to that sibling?
Well, it would totally depend on the age of the home, because my actual sister and brother-in-law have one of our warranties, and they've had it now for 5 years. They've renewed it every year. But they bought a new house, and so after their builder's warranty ended, then that's when they went with us. And so if it was an older home of one of my siblings, then I would recommend that they look at, because we have 3 plans, the basic, the ultimate, and the platinum. And basically the difference is the higher you go in the price, the less your liability, your amount of money out of pocket is going to be with the repair or replacement. So like I say, if the home was older, I would definitely encourage them to go with either the ultimate or the platinum.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that with some home protection companies, they don't offer coverage for washer and dryer under their basic plans. Do you guys offer coverage for washer and dryers through the basic plan?
We absolutely do. I'm thrilled to say. Not only washer and dryer, but we also include now the garage door openers that are absolutely free and covered.
And that coverage is available for the buyers. It's not available for the sellers. The washer, dryer, refrigerator. And the reason why is because a lot of times those items will convey, and a lot of times they won't. So if you can imagine older publics out there doing service on a refrigerator, but the seller is not intending to leave that refrigerator behind. They take it with them, move it back to Pennsylvania. The new clients move in with their appliances, and we're out there again fixing or replacing a refrigerator. So that's why we always provide it just for the buyer, because if the appliances convey or don't, doesn't matter. Once they're in that home, whatever's actually in the home, the washer, dryer, refrigerator, older public will cover.
Okay. And what about older public covering hot water heaters that fail due to sediment buildup? Could you expand on that a little bit?
Well, I'll tell you. We actually, Old Republic was the first company, and this was about 4 or 5 years ago, because originally that was one of the major denials in all of home warranties, and that was if the hot water heater failed due to sediment buildup. Well, our company decided that that really wasn't fair, And so we were the first ones to come out and say, okay, we don't care if there's a foot of sediment in that hot water heater, we're going to cover it. But, like I say, all companies are not equal, so I encourage people to look at the fine print, of which our plan has none.
One of the things you bring up, the fine print, I think is the biggest problem that a lot of people have, and that is in understanding the contract that they're signing, and is to avoid misunderstandings down the road.
Absolutely. That's why when we created this plan, we created it very user-friendly, so that your everyday layman could understand it. If there are any maximums on our plan, they are spelled out in bold print in sections that you can clearly see them and clearly understand them. So we don't want to mislead or hide anything. We are totally transparent. And I know with some warranties you need to get out a magnifying glass to see some of the fine print, and then it's very legalese written and very hard to understand, but ours is one of the really easiest out there.
There's not a controversial question. No, I'm not going to go there for now. Polybutylene piping.
Yes.
It's written up on a lot of homes in home inspection reports. Is that treated any differently than any other type of piping in a home?
Yes, that is included in our basic plan.
Okay.
There is a maximum on that. It is stated in the highlighted box. There is a $500 maximum that we will pay for polybutylene pipe leaks. But back when it was when the class action suit and all first came out, it was the fittings that had the problem.
Right.
And so most homes you could replace the fittings, just the fittings, for that amount of money.
Right. Based on the testimonial that I read earlier, the real estate attorney, who is a very smart lady, by the way, she and her husband renewed their policy every year. It doesn't matter how many claims you have. You can automatically renew they're not going to reject you. Or am I bringing up a... Go ahead. Oh, I guess I am.
Okay,
Let's talk about that.
There's an old saying, once bitten, twice shy.
Okay.
So there are certain circumstances where it's shame on us if we renew again. And I've run into situations like that.
Okay.
I'm just going to use one personal example of someone who was high on crack cocaine. And they threatened to kill one of our contractors if they didn't do extra work in the home.
And you wouldn't renew that person's
No, we decided
policy?
that was probably not the best idea.
Wow.
And also we had to call the authorities. So there are situations and circumstances where people are very difficult to work for.
Sure.
It would be shame on us if they continue to work with us, because sometimes they're very abusive. But by and large, the majority of the people, yes, can offer or have a warranty as a renewal for the following year and the year following that.
So I bet in your business there's an underbelly of the sinister, of the people that you can't trust, that are trying to buck the system.
That's correct.
And that exists, unfortunately. And it's a small minority, but you have to be respectful of it, huh?
Exactly. And the thing is, this is our client's money, so we want to make sure that when everybody's paying into the pool, we're spending the money wisely so that we're not constantly raising the rates for those few people that are trying to buck the system.
Yeah. To me, a home purchase is just about the largest investment that most people make, and I'm very pro insurance. The best insurance you can get, it's what makes you sleep well at night. But everybody's different, and good real estate brokers will be good communicators on behalf of the services that are available to their clients, home warranties being one, and that's one of the conversations you have when you write an offer. You have that conversation. I don't know how long the home warranty has been in the offer to purchase contract, but it certainly has to be a boom to your business. Patty?
Well, it actually was, and everybody was saying to us, "Oh, well, I bet y'all were really instrumental in getting." And we were just as shocked as anybody.
Right.
But the way I explain it is, if the North Carolina Real Estate Commission had not known that this was going to benefit the consumer greatly, they would have never added it to the listing contract or the offer to purchase.
Right.
So, like I say, we were delighted because it does initiate the conversation, because so many agents never even mentioned them to their sellers or their buyers, and they're really not giving them a level of protection that they really could use.
Yeah. Well, the fact of the matter is, just from this conversation today, it's not just the buyers that benefit, it's also the sellers.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. You guys have been great contributors. This has been a topic we've wanted to talk about. Nicole, you've been great. You've got probably a zillion questions still we can't get to today.
I do.
But good information, huh?
Great, yeah.
Yeah. And our clients ultimately are the ones that get to benefit. Patty, thanks for coming in.
It's been a delight.
Yeah, and you are a fixture around Moore County, by the way. You come in and out all the time, so we will see you. And Troy, I appreciate you coming in and talking with us. Old Republic has made some strides here in Moore County, and the information you've given today has been great public information. Thank you both. Have a great week.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. And thank you. This is All Things Moore County. Have a great week.
Our house, it has a crowd. There's always something happening, and it's usually quite loud. Our mum, she's so house proud.